Trail riding is one of my favorite things to do. However, if you're striving to become a better off-road rider, it's pretty easy to kind of get stuck in the same routine. In this video, I'm going to share with you 5 of my favorite things to do when I'm out trail riding with my friends to help me actively work on off-road riding technique. Welcome back to the Ride with the Knights YouTube channel. If you're new here, on this channel we talk everything off-road dirt bikes, whether it's racing, trail riding, bike setup. We love everything off-road. We're out here today doing an awesome trail ride in Utah with some of my closest friends. And today we're going to share with you some of my favorite practices or drills to help you find creative ways to improve your technique on the motorcycle, specifically when you're trail riding. These tips are going to work really well if you're going out doing a single track ride in the mountains or if you're doing a nice trail ride out in the desert. What I've found in my riding career is that it's really easy to just fall back into my comfort zone, my routine, and just ride the way I've always ridden. However, if you're a rider who's looking for improvement, you want progress, riding in your comfort zone is not always the best route to get there. That's why in today's video, I want to share with you some of my favorite practices that I implement on the trail to help me start seeing things a little bit differently and getting me out of that comfort zone, applying new techniques. Reminder, as always, if you already shop at Rocky Mountain ATVMC, head over to Rocky Mountain using the link in our description. You can also head over to our website, click the banner. What this does is it triggers our affiliate link, gives us a little bit of commission, and supports our channel. It shows us that you guys like this content, that you want more of it, and it helps us continue to make these videos. You can buy any of your favorite products at Rocky Mountain ATVMC, and it'll help us out. Today, I'm using the MSR riding vest. These vests are fantastic for big trail rides. They allow me to pack some of my camera gear, radio, all of my hydration fluid, food, and a nice tool pack. This is one of my favorite products. You can click the link in the description, check it out. And if you're interested in more training videos like this, head over to ridewiththeknights.com. We have our free 1-hour training. We also have a free trial for our premium membership, or you can subscribe to our $20 a month premium membership to check out all of our training videos. Drill number 1 is the no dab game. A lot of my riding friends have trials riding backgrounds. This is something that they kind of introduced to me over all the different years that we've been riding together. The no dab game simply refers to not dabbing your feet on the ground. This is a great drill or practice that I like to do every once in a while. It can be really fun if you're riding with your riding buddies, to when you all group together like we are here, to say, all right, we're gonna start the no dab game from here until the next time we stop, a couple mile section. Count how many times you dab your feet on the ground and do your very best to simply not touch the ground. You'll be surprised as you practice this game or practice this drill at how you're able to find creative ways to maintain your balance. This is a really simple activity or practice that you can implement into your trail riding. Again, all of these different tips are really just things to help you find unique ways to get a little bit out of your comfort zone when you're trail riding, to not fall back into that same routine, but to open your eyes to some of the different things that you can improve on the motorcycle. And by far, number 1, my favorite, is the no dab game. So next time you're out trail riding, whether it's on single track or out in the desert, try the no dab game with your friends. The second practice that I really like to implement into our trail rides on a day like today is to be aware of transitions from standing to sitting. So this is a really easy practice that you can do, and there's a couple different ways to use this to benefit your technical ability on the motorcycle. So really, actually, your efficiency to save energy and ride smoother through different types of obstacles. So most of the time when riding motorcycles, you're gonna find yourself in one of 2 positions, either the standing position or the sitting position. Now, the pro of the standing position is that you're able to absorb more impacts, more bumps. The pro of sitting is you can save a little bit of energy. But what a lot of riders fail to recognize is how much energy it actually costs you to transition between the two. We talk all the time about, stay standing or, sit in these certain spots. But one thing that I like to help riders become more aware of is the transition from standing to sitting. So it's really important to stay standing in certain obstacles, but one of the things I like to practice when trail riding on a day like today, we're out here just kind of going at a really cruise, a really slow pace, is to just simply become aware of how many times I'm transitioning between standing and sitting. So one thing that you can do is just pick a position, preferably probably standing, and then just see how long you can stay in that position. What'll happen is a lot of riders will just default to riding in a sitting position, and then they'll stand up when it's rocky and then sit down and then stand up when it's rocky or that ledge, and they'll just constantly be alternating back and forth between the two, and this can cost you a lot of energy. So next time you're out trail riding, make it a practice or a drill to stay standing up through sections that you otherwise probably would sit down. And a couple things you can observe are, well, did I really need to sit down through that section? How was my throttle use through that? Did I have to brake as hard and get back on the gas as hard? Typically braking and accelerating is really accelerated and driven by that act of standing, sitting, standing, sitting. And if we can just simplify the whole process of riding, stay in one position, then usually we adapt by staying a little bit smoother on the throttle. The third thing that I really enjoy doing when I'm out trail riding or practicing is to focus on foot positioning. Now, this is a little bit different than tip number 1, where we talked about not dabbing. That one, the benefit is really revolving around balance and stability. This drill and this practice of foot positioning is a unique way to help you find time to form or change your bad habits. So I'll share my experience. I have ridden motorcycles for a really long time, and in the first 10, 15 years of riding, I didn't focus that much on foot positioning, and I developed the habit of riding on or near the arches of my feet. So when I started focusing more on and being proactive about my foot positioning, I found it difficult to actually change that technique when I was racing or during competition. It almost just went in one ear and out the other. It just was really difficult to make that happen during a competition. So the area and the time where I was actually able to really reform, reshape this habit was in my trail riding. Long hours on the bike and at a low enough intensity that it allowed me to change and break that habit. So I guess we could call this tip habits or bad habits, because when you're trail riding, that's a great opportunity for you to just simply take the time to change those habits, because it's really hard to do when you're racing. So I encourage you, when you're out trail riding with your buddies, to the entire attack position really begins with your foot positioning. So that's really a good one to start with. It's much easier when I'm trail riding to be very proactive and remind myself to practice proper technique and take the time to do it, because when I was racing, it was really hard to do, and the goal is to practice it when you're trail riding and then allow it to sort of bleed into your racing. And there will be a day, if you stick with it long enough when you're trail riding, there will be a day when you're in a competition and you'll notice that there was some muscle memory and you did it without really thinking about it, and that's where you'll start to make really good progress. Tip number 4 is line choice. This is something that I love to practice when I'm trail riding. Like this wash behind me, you'll notice that there's all sorts of different lines, there's different rocks, obstacles, and oftentimes there's like a primary line or kind of a default line choice, the one that you'll gravitate towards most likely. There's a lot of value and benefit in deviating from the standard line choice, because it allows you to start to see different things, sort of open up the different options or possibilities on different obstacles. And really what it does is it trains your eye to be looking for multiple line choices at all times. So I encourage you, this is a great practice you can do with your friends when you're out trail riding, is to take some time, allocate a portion of your trail ride to just focusing on taking different lines. Every time you're approaching a section or an obstacle, go, what am I most likely to do? And then do something different, whether it's to enter the corner a little bit wider, or if there's a ledge, to take a slightly harder obstacle. Oftentimes in rock gardens and stuff, it's real easy to try and dodge the rocks, but sometimes there's value in maybe hitting some of the bigger rocks because it allows you to get over without falling in so many holes. So you start to learn things and sort of get outside of your comfort zone a little bit more. So that's why I always encourage you to practice a little bit with line choice when you're out trail riding. What you'll find is that if you practice this enough, when you're racing, you will be much more aware of the different possibilities when you're entering different sections, particularly when you're trying to pass somebody. If there's a bottleneck or a jam, you are able to make decisions much quicker. You'll also find that if you implement this in your trail riding, you'll be surprised at what you learn. You may find out that, wow, actually hitting the bigger portion of the log was much easier, or taking the time to set up earlier for that turn and go really wide actually allowed me to carry a lot more speed. So there's a lot of value in experimenting with line choice. The fifth and final tip to practice when you're out trail riding or riding with your friends is what I like to call the turn track game. If you're riding a turn track, a sand track, or you could call it the trail game if you're riding a single track trail or any type of trail for a certain amount of distance. This is a great drill or practice to really pick up intensity and just sort of simulate what you're gonna get in a racing scenario. So if you're riding a sand track or some type of track where you're completing laps, typically a small track works well for this game. We play what we call the turn track game. It's really simple. Get a group, gather a group of riding friends, 4 or 5 friends, spread out throughout the track so you all start at a different position, and then go. Everybody starts at the same time. You race in the same direction around the track. The goal is to not get passed. If you get passed, you're out. Last man standing wins. An alternative version of this game to play if you're riding a trail that's not a track where you're completing multiple laps is to do your best job to kind of rank all of the riders in your riding group based on speed, and then start in reverse order. So send the slowest guy first, second slowest guy next, so on, so that the fastest guy starts last, and then pick a point a few miles out on the trail where you're gonna call the finish line at the next junction or something like that. And same thing, if you get passed, you're eliminated. Last man standing wins. So the goal is to not get passed. Both of those are really fun, creative ways for you to sort of increase the intensity in your riding scenarios and simulate what it's like to be in the middle of a race. So those are my 5 tips to help you practice different things when you're out riding or trail riding. Again, the goal of this video is to help you find ways to get out of your comfort zone, get out of your normal riding routine, and start to see things with a little bit broader perspective. This is going to increase your technical ability, increase your scope, your line choices, all sorts of different things. I guarantee if you implement at least one of these things, one of these practices into your riding, you will find improvement. Head over to ridewiththeknights.com to check out our complete library of training videos. You can join for as little as $20 a month, gain access to hundreds of training videos just like this that teach you the technique, the bike setup, the physical preparation, the mental technique and strategy, everything that's involved with riding and racing off-road dirt bikes. Head over to ridewiththeknights.com, get signed up. We will see you guys inside the course.